Buonasera, welcome back to our Italian sessions. These sessions cover different topics at different levels. So they can be suitable for beginners, but especially for intermediate and advanced. Normally, I choose the topics based on what normally students find more difficult to understand, to remember, to use as well. You're very welcome to, in fact, leave comments and request topics about things that you find difficult. In fact, this one, well, most students do find difficult what we're going to do today, and it is a request. We're going to talk about the subjunctive tense. It's not a tense, well, subjunctive, which in Italian is congiuntivo. Um, before starting, let me tell you that I also have on a playlist a course of Italian for beginners. So it starts from lesson one and it goes on. At the moment, we are on lesson 16, I believe. So starting from very, very basic and then adding on and building from there. So if you are a beginner, I would recommend you to follow that course. And even better if you do follow the order of the of those lessons. Otherwise, if you're not a beginner, you can just choose the videos according to the title. If you need to refresh something, revise, or you want to see a certain topic from a different point of view. Anyway, let's start by sharing some tables, which I did not create these tables. They are taken from a book, which I have mentioned before. It's a very good book that I bought more than 20 years ago, probably 20 years ago, and I still use. Very, very useful. Very good tables and some exercises as well. So, first of all, subjunctive or congiuntivo, which is a tense. In fact, it's not, as I said, it's not technically a tense because there are different tenses. There is the present, the past, and the imperfect. Um, so there is a conjugation, let's call it a conjugation of verbs which are used in specific situations. They do call it, I've seen that it is described, this congiuntivo described as a mood tense or conjugation, because it is it follows, in fact, certain expressions which express doubt or feelings, opinions. So that's why they call it, I don't know, the mood conjugation. However, they're not, we'll see a little bit later, quite a long list, which is not a complete list, but it does give you a good idea on when to use this conjugation. First of all, we'll start having a look at the endings of this of the congiuntivo or subjunctive. We have the conjugation of the regular verbs. We have parlare, so verbs in are, prendere, verbs in ere, and partire, verbs in ire. As you can see here at the top, is giving you a little indication of what is going to happen. But let's see the tables, the endings first, and then we can go up to those little instructions, little symbols, they will make a little bit more sense. So as you can see here, it is a bit of, if you've never seen it before, especially, it will look a little bit peculiar. But probably some of you will have had a look at it at least before. So can you see for the very first three-person singular, we have exactly the same endings. We have, so we are dropping are as usual, normally. What we do, we drop are and we are adding the letter I for io, tu, lui, lei. So first, second, and third person singular. So they are just the same. And in fact, normally, unlike other conjugations, other tenses, which are not accompanied by the subject pronoun, which is this, io, tu, lui, lei, noi, voi, loro, often, and especially if there could be the doubt of who we are talking about, we do use, especially for the singular persons, we do use the actual subject pronoun. So we do use io, tu, lui, lei. As you can see, for the others, it's not really necessary. And in fact, so continuing still on the first group of verbs in are, we have the ending for noi in iamo, which is exactly the same one as the present tense. And for voi, we have iate, parliate. And then for loro, we have ino, parlino. I'm going to read them all. Parli, parli, and parli again. Parliamo, parliate, parlino. This book is also quite good because if you can see here, it underlines where the stress goes in the words. I think, as I said before, it is off print, unless there are new versions, which are not as good as this old one, as usual, really. Updating does not mean improving. That's my opinion. Let's see the second group of verbs, which is the verbs in ere. Again, the first, second, and third person singular have exactly the same ending, which is in a. We are dropping ere from prendere. We are adding a. And for noi, we still have iamo. For voi, we have iate. Again, for loro, we have ano. So I'm going to read it. For the first three person is prenda. And for noi prendiamo, voi prendiate, loro prendano. And then finally, the third group of verbs in ire, we have exactly the same. In fact, normally the verbs in ere and the verbs in ire are similar to each other, more similar to each other than they are to the verbs in are. If you've done enough Italian and enough tenses, you know what I'm talking about. Are, ere, ire. What? You should know by now. So, as we said, first, second, third person singular are exactly the same in a. We've dropped ire, we are adding a, exactly like the verbs in ere. For noi, we still have iamo, the ending iamo, which, as I said earlier, is the same ending as the present tense for noi. For voi, we still have iate. So you can actually look at what they have in common, these conjugations, this group of verbs. And in fact, you have to admit that you have less endings to memorize. However, on the other hand, you have to remember when to use the verb and how to use it correctly. Also, don't forget that these are the regular verbs, but however, there are quite a few irregular verbs. It's normal, normally. No, actually, it's quite abnormal for this for this congiuntivo. Quite a few irregular verbs, which you can learn gradually, of course. Finally, the ending for loro, for the group in ire, is ano, again, like ere. So I'm going to read it. For the first three persons is parta, and then noi partiamo, voi partiate, loro partano. So these little boxes that you have at the top is the verb in are, so the a becomes I. Verbs in ere, the e becomes a, as you can see. And partire, so the I becomes a as well. Here, quite useful this table also because it's giving you an example of those verbs in ire which are not irregular. However, they have a specific conjugation which is different from most verbs in ire. You will see this, oh, I do mention this when I talk about the present tense regular verbs, the conjugation, where I mention finire, and then some other verbs like capire, preferire. Which ones are useful to remember in this group? There are at least a couple of more, really, which are worth memorizing. So finire, capire, preferire, some other ones, which you can find out about. So as you can see, it's a little bit different. I'm going to read it. So the ire changes. We have finisca for the first three persons, singular. And then noi finiamo, voi finiate, e loro finiscano. So noi e voi still stay the same, but we have the first three persons and the last one, which have the typical letters, really combination of letters like the present tense. In this table, it is also useful, in fact, crucial to always learn every tense, every conjugation of essere, to be, and avere, to have, which are always most 99% at least of the time irregular. So I'm going to read this for essere, sia, for the first three persons, siamo, like the present tense of noi, siate, siano. So you have to be careful where the stress goes in the word. For avere, we have abbia, for the first three persons, singular, abbiamo, abbiate, abbiano. Again, careful to the stress. It does change a little bit. Right, so these are the endings for congiuntivo presente. And now I'm going to stop sharing and we are going to see, I'll share another table. We're going to see when we use congiuntivo. So there's a list, quite a few lists actually, of different groups of expressions which are followed by congiuntivo. Let's see some of them and see how we can group them and start maybe memorizing a few of them. So let me share the second table, which I believe is this one. Yes, it is. Oh, no, we don't want this one. We want this one. Yeah. So here we have, as I said, a group of expressions that we need to use before the subjunctive, before congiuntivo. As you can see, as I said earlier, somewhere I've seen more than once, really, the description of this conjugation as a mood, the tense for mood, express mood. Because, as I said, it's linked, some of the expressions are linked to opinions and feelings. So let's see first, we're going to see here the way they have described certain verbs or expressions. So when do we use congiuntivo? In fact, here it does introduce this list with usiamo il congiuntivo in frasi dipendenti da altre che esprimono generalmente soggettività, volontà, incertezza, stato d'animo, eccetera, ma solo quando i due verbi hanno soggetti diversi, in particolare quando esprimono and the list starts. So let me translate that. We use subjunctive in sentences which depend on other sentences, which express normally subjectivity, will, uncertainty, and feelings. However, I will remind you about this that's coming now. However, only when the two verbs, so the verb of the feeling, let's say, and the verb that follows, as we said, we have two sentences. So the subjunctive is in the second verb. So only when the verb of the first sentence and the verb of the second sentence have different subjects, meaning they're two different people. If I think that you or she, he, they are whatever, or should, or whatever else. So when the two subjects are different. So we were looking at this. So opinione soggettiva, as we were saying, is an opinion when you are expressing an opinion. And let's see some of the verbs that we use when we are expressing our subjective opinion. Credo, I believe. Penso, I think. Direi che, I would say that. And then you give your basically opinion. Immagino, I imagine. Suppongo, I suppose. Ritengo che. Ritengo is very similar to I believe. No, I can't think of there is a more a closer verb in English. However, it's like I consider or yes, I believe really. And then mi pare and mi sembra, which are just the same, just different verbs which with the same meaning. So it seems to me, ho l'impressione che, I have the impression that. So as you can see, it is very subjective. It is, we are expressing our opinion on something. And then we use congiuntivo when we are expressing incertezza, uncertainty. Let's see. Non sono sicuro, I am not certain. So sicuro o certo. I'm not sure, I'm not certain that. Dubito che, I doubt that a certain person or whatever. Voglio o non voglio che, I want or I don't want. somebody or something to do, to be, to happen. Remember, there is another verb after these expressions. And then, where are we? Sorry, this was volontà, will, some will or wish. Desidero, I wish, I desire, or preferisco che, I prefer that something or someone do or something happens. Stato d'animo, which should be feelings, really, the way you're feeling. State of being. Sono felice o sono contento che, which is I'm happy, I'm glad that. Mi fa piacere, again, it pleased me or I'm glad. Again, you can translate it with I am glad. Or mi dispiace, I am sorry that. I'm saying this that because we have che all the time. They're always followed by che. So I think that, I suppose that, I want that, etc. We also have verbs that express speranza, hope. Spero, I hope, or mi auguro che, well, it is I wish, or it is wish and hope, really, this augurarsi. Attesa is expectation, or expectations or wait as well. Aspetto che, I wait or I expect that. Paura, fear. Ho paura o temo che, I am afraid or I fear that. So quite a few. Normally you start, really you start memorizing, especially the first ones, credo, penso, I believe, I think. They are the most common ones which we use. However, you can, the other ones, they're not all as obvious as credo and penso, because as soon as you say I believe, I think, you're immediately talking about the way you feel or you think about something. You believe about something or someone, remember. The others are yeah, they are a bit more subtle, let's say. So this, as I said, is a list of the main verbs which are followed by congiuntivo, subjunctive. With we have the whole sentence, really. I don't want to spend like a long time reading all these sentences, really. I just want to give you the list. However, you can take a screenshot maybe and take the whole, so you have the whole image. And if you do find any difficulties translating or understanding or anything else, I will repeat it probably at the end of this session. Please feel free to write a comment and also mention a specific sentence or verb expressions that I have mentioned here. So the first box, we have these types of verbs that express our feelings or the way we feel or see something. In the second box, we have verbi o forme impersonali. So when we have an impersonal verb or expression or construction, let's see what we mean with that. So we have bisogna o occorre che, meaning it is needed, it is necessary that. Può darsi che, può darsi is not, it can't really, it can be translated literally. Può darsi che means it could be that, si dice o dicono che, they say, or it is said. Pare o sembra che, it seems. In fact, this one, pare and sembra, you can translate with this verb, you can translate it sounds like, it looks like, it feels like, it seems like. So they are impersonal. Remember, we have seen something similar in the previous box, but here is mi pare, mi sembra, it seems to me, not just it seems, which is impersonal. And then more specific ones, starting with it is. È necessario, è importante che, it is necessary, it is important that, è opportuno, è giusto che, it is opportuno, it's a bit of a false friend. It's like it's advisable, it's fair, just that. È ora, è tempo che, it is time. È bene, è male che, it is good, it is bad, that, something or someone, remember. È meglio, è peggio che, it is better, it is worse, that, someone or something again. È normale, è naturale, è logico. It is normal, it's natural, it's logical, that, etc. È strano, è incredibile che, it is strange, odd, incredible, unbelievable, that. È possibile, impossibile, it's possible, it's impossible. And è probabile, è improbabile, it is likely or unlikely that. Oh, è facile, è difficile, it is easy or it is difficult that. È un peccato che, it is a shame that, etc. So here, in fact, let's see a couple of the sentences. We can't really go through all of them, but just to give you maybe a better view about this, how it works, especially if you've never seen it before. Let's take the first sentence from here. Credo, o penso, o direi che, tu debba accettare la mia offerta. I believe. So credo, we know immediately is I. I believe that. Remember, you have that. Credo che. And in fact, by the way, in English, you can drop that. I believe you should do something. In Italian, you cannot drop it. You must say, I believe that. So, credo che tu debba accettare la mia offerta. I believe that you should. This is the subjunctive of dovere, must. You should accept my offer. Let's see the next one. I suppose that, suppongo che tutto sia fatto. I suppose that everything has been done. Oh, sorry, not fatto, finito. That everything is finished. Not done. Some examples from this box. È necessario o è importante che io abbia più tempo. It is necessary or it is important that I have more time. The way I've translated the sentences is quite literal. One way to recognize or to maybe compare the two, English and Italian, is when do I, apart from this list, a clue is also when in English you have a certain construction. For example, In fact, first of all, you do have subjunctive, you just don't realize. uh, I'll think about some sentences for later. Um, so, for example, we were looking. Um, let me see if we have a good one in here. Maybe I should just make my own app instead of let me see, voglio. Ah, yes, maybe we can use this one. Voglio che tu faccia. No, this is non voglio. No, we'll go for the negative. Non voglio che tu faccia tardi stasera. I don't want that you are late this evening. Literal translation. In proper English, I don't want you to be late this evening. So when you have this construction with any of these verbs as well in English, so any of these verbs in English with a construction, I believe you to be whatever. Or I'm gonna stick with this sentence just in case I confuse you actually. So this construction, instead of saying I don't want that you are late, I don't want you to. So you have the person and then the preposition to followed by infinitive and the rest of the sentence. So as I said, the way to translate this sentence is I don't want you to be late this evening. Let's find another one from here. Let's see if there is one that works as well. Ah, yes, for example, this one, è ora o tempo che tu mi dica tutta la verità. It is time that you tell me all the truth. Or in a more English construction, it is time for you to tell me all the truth. So this specific construction in English should be a hint or a clue that you need subjunctive in Italian. Not as easy because, or maybe now you'll start noticing these constructions in English, and maybe start also thinking, start translating these expressions, these sentences in Italian, and practice the congiuntivo. We have a little note at the bottom of the tables. Attenzione. And by the way, I hope you do see this. It's a little bit small, but yeah, with glasses it should be okay. Attenzione, careful. Se una frase invece esprime certezza o oggettività, usiamo l'indicativo. So be careful. Attention. If a sentence, instead, on the other hand, expresses certainty or objectivity, we use indicativo. Indicativo is the other. That's why I said it's not really a tense. It's a conjugation. It's not really even a conjugation. It's a group of tenses. So we use the indicativo, meaning the present tense or passato prossimo, imperfetto. So not subjunctive. We will later on, we are going to see a very nice table. Fantastic table. So exciting. Table with these different types of conjugations, types of tenses. So groups of conjugations and tenses. So some examples. Sono sicuro che lui è un amico. So here you are expressing something which is certain, which is objective. Well, to be honest, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. So sono sicuro che lui è un amico. I am sure. So there is no doubt. That's what I mean, really. There is no doubt. In fact, we don't really have here. Also, when we are expressing doubt, in fact, an opinion is not a fact. He said maybe we actually have evidence, obviously have evidence that he is a friend, a real friend. Another example, so che è partito ieri. I know that he left yesterday, which is different, the opposite, in fact, of non so. Obviously, I don't know. It means I have no information, no facts, no evidence. È chiaro che hai ragione. So this is an impersonal expression like this one. However, this one is saying it is clear, it is obvious that you are right. Oh, it's nice to hear somebody telling you that. So these are some examples of when not to use congiuntivo or subjunctive. So these just well, two lists, not even one, two lists when we use subjunctive. And in fact, to make you feel a little bit better, I am going to have talking about the subjunctive, I'm going to have more than one part because it's too long, too complicated. So now is part one, prima parte, to see the conjugation, the endings, in fact, and when to use it. However, in the other parts, we're going to see the other tenses, so the past, passato, similar to passato prossimo, the construction, so congiuntivo passato and congiuntivo imperfetto, and also when not to use it. So careful not to get carried away. Now I'm going to share another. Oh, I've got two more. I think I'm only going to share this one. In fact, let me see. I might look at the other one instead. Let me see. Is this one? Oh no, we are going back to the other one. We leave this one for later. As I said, I'll try not to make it too long. So we're going back to this. So we saw when to use I'm still trying. Well, it doesn't necessarily make too much difference, this table or the other table. So we use subjunctive or congiuntivo after all those verbs which express doubt or feelings or opinions, subjective, obviously personal opinions, fear and hope, etc. We also use subjunctive when we have impersonal expressions. It is important, it is necessary, it is good, it is bad, etc. And then we also have two lists. This is one of them. I think I'll leave the other one for a second part. So two lists which are not complete. Keep in mind that these are only some, most I would say, but some of the expressions or constructions which are followed by subjunctive. So we are going to see, can you see there are quite a few. This why it's better not to make it too long and too overwhelming, and is especially, as I said, if you've never seen this tense before, you don't want too much information all at once. So we'll see this one and then we'll close this session for now. So let's see each of these little boxes have a certain word or um, yeah, certain constructions, as I said, which are followed by subjunctive. So here we have chiunque, qualsiasi, qualunque, dovunque, comunque, which are similar in the sense that like whoever or wherever or um, however, for example, whatever you do, however you go, wherever you go, whoever you go with, etc., etc. So these words are followed by subjunctive, and the difficulty is also that you may not be familiar yet with some or any also of these expressions or words. Let's see a few. Let's see the translation of these ones. So, lui litiga con chiunque tifi per un'altra squadra. He argues with whoever support another team. Supports another team. So this we have chiunque, whoever, and then followed by the verb in the subjunctive. Let's see a few more. Chiamami per qualsiasi cosa tu abbia bisogno. Call me for anything or whatever you may need. Let's go for this one. Qualunque cosa gli venga in mente, la dice senza pensarci. Whatever or whichever thing comes to his mind, he says it without even thinking about it. And this one, dovunque tu vada, io verrò con te. Wherever you go, I'll come with you. It's a threat. Promise, a promise. Non devi perdere il coraggio comunque stiano le cose. You must not feel discouraged, however things are, or however things will be. So can you see it's not easy at all? And here, as I said, we have other words or constructions which are used with subjunctive. Here we have il più o più di quanto, so the most più di quanto. For example, è la donna più bella che abbia mai conosciuto. She is the most beautiful woman that I have ever met. Il fumo è più nocivo di quanto tu possa pensare. Smoking is more harmful than you may think. So these are not, as I was saying, they're not expressions that we are probably you're used to use or see. So you may, as I said, you may not be comfortable using these expressions. In fact, I'm not even sure if I should go ahead and read them all. But let's see them. So l'unico o il solo che, the only one. Or non c'è nessuno che, there is no one who. And then we have augurio desiderio. So when you are wishing for somebody to do well, for example, I'll give you an example. Like che Dio sia con te, God be with you. This is so you're wishing for somebody. And then this is a specific, very specific construction. But we'll see this one actually. Che loro siano poveri, lo so bene. Here we are starting with che. like this one, but this is like, as I said, you're like wishing for somebody to, like for something to go well, etc. So this one is different though. It is as if some of part of the sentence is missing or is implicit more than just missing. If we added this implicit part of the sentence, it would probably, well, it would make it a little bit easier to understand. But let me read it first. So, so che loro siano poveri lo so bene. So the missing part is the fact that, il fatto che. It's not here, you don't need it. If you want, you do put it and say it, but it is not needed. You can just start with che. But keep in mind, the missing part is il fatto, the fact that they are poor, I know very well. However, can you see that you only need subjunctive if you use this word order, this construction? In fact, here you have ma. However, if you change the order, which is good news, you can actually change the order and avoid the subjunctive. So bene che loro sono poveri. I know very well that they are poor. In fact, here you have inversion. So you have a word order which is different from, let's say, the straightforward word order. Dubbio, so doubt. So here again, there is some part of the sentence implicit. Is it possible that they have left already? Question mark. Domanda indiretta, indirect question. Chiede se tu abbia fiducia in lei. Let's go. She's asking, she's wondering whether you trust her. You have faith in her. So it's an indirect question, meaning she's wondering, she's asking herself whether somebody else. Remember, different subject. And then certe frasi relative, certain depending I'm not sure, to be honest, how the actual word, technical word in English is certe frasi relative. Some sentences which depend on others. According to meaning. So, what? Sara è nervosa. Devo trovare una ragazza che abbia più pazienza. Sarah is quite nervosa doesn't mean necessarily nervous. We can go for nervous because we don't know Sarah. It could be also with bad-tempered, or yes, could be. We'll go for nervous. I must find a girlfriend who is more patient. So this, I'm wondering if maybe we'll go quickly. We'll look at the other, the last table. Let me see where it was. I think, yes, it was this one. Yes, so these are, again, some other words or expressions which are followed by subjunctive. So we've seen the first box with certain verbs, which are the ones that you're going to use the most, really. The second box with impersonal expressions. Third box with those constructions or certain words. And then we have this other box with other words or expressions, or yes, expressions. The previous ones, they were constructions as well. These are more words or expressions. So here we have very similar: benché, sebbene, nonostante, despite, although, So after these words, we need subjunctive. One example, voglio che ci incontriamo benché mi senta proprio stanco. I want us to meet, despite the fact, although I'm feeling really tired. Here we have, so these are quite similar. In each box, there are similar expressions. Purché, a patto che, a condizione che, basta che, as long as. So, le parlerò purché mi chieda scusa del suo comportamento. I will talk to her as long as she apologizes for her behavior. Senza che, without something, for example, without something happening, without someone knowing, for example. Andrò alla finale senza che i miei lo sappiano. I will go to the final, I don't know, some sport thing, without my parents knowing. If I'd see the word order, how different it is when you translate it. Literal translation in English would be without that, my parents know. However, in proper English, without my parents knowing. There's another little clue that will remind you that if you have this construction, you need subjunctive. Nel caso che, in case that something happens. Affinché o perché. This perché does not mean because. It means so that. For example, non l'aiuto più perché si abitui a farcela da sola. I'm not going to help her anymore so that she gets used to manage by herself. Prima che, before. Dobbiamo segnare prima che finisca la partita. We must score before the match finishes. A meno che o tranne che, unless. Verrà a meno che non glielo vieti sua moglie. He will come unless his wife forbade him to. It's strange. I think I mentioned it before. Strange examples, but you do run out of ideas sometimes writing books. So this was a long list. In fact, long lists of, as I said, expressions or verbs, but you do have an idea. As I said, the first and second boxes that we saw at the beginning, we saw first, those are the most important ones. The second two are expressions that probably, I would say most of them, it depends on your level, but if you've never done a subjunctive before, I doubt you will know these expressions. I'm talking about expressions of the last two. So third and fourth, actually. So I doubt you know those ones. So you can maybe decide, really. I'll pick two from each of these boxes, and I learn those. It's something that I might use a little bit more. Otherwise, do concentrate on the first two boxes. The one on the first page, which is the box with all the sentence, sorry, the verbs at the bottom, and impersonal expressions at the top, and impersonal expressions at the bottom. So I was saying my long sentence that started a couple of minutes ago. If you have never done this tense before, probably you still don't know quite a few of those last expressions. If you have done this before, so you've reached a certain level, and maybe you just want to refresh what you know already, you will probably know some of them. I'm talking about, again, the last two boxes, the last two pages. If you don't, anyway, do not worry. Concentrate on the first two boxes. The credo, penso, especially those ones. And then è necessario, è importante, etc. So you do have an idea about congiuntivo. As I said, this is part one, which is already quite full and intense. So feel free, as I said before, feel free to ask me more questions, more explanation, more examples. I didn't want to translate all those sentences, even if obviously it is useful, but I don't want to make it too long. However, I'm happy to come back to the basics of congiuntivo. And as we said, in general, it is used with after verbs that express personal feelings or opinions. We saw the endings for each group of regular verbs. We have seen essere and avere, which are normally irregular. And remember, there are quite a few irregular verbs or conjugations for the subjunctive as well. So you do need to get used to those as well. I hope this was helpful. And as I said, this is part one, prima parte. So I will see you on the second session, the second part. There may be three parts in order to avoid making the video so long. So as I said, feel free to leave comments and perhaps well, in particular about this video, and if you're still not sure, perhaps see all the different parts that cover congiuntivo, and see how you feel after that. Meanwhile, before going, thank you very much for subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting, and making your requests on my videos. So I will go now, and I will see you next time. Ciao. Bye.